The Wurm glaciation in the literature usually just referred to as the Wurm, often spelt Wurm, is the name given to the last glacial period in the Alpine region. It is the youngest of the major glaciations of the region that extended beyond the Alps themselves. It is like most of the other ice ages of the Pleistocene epoch, named after a river, the Wurm in Bavaria, a tributary of the Amper. The Wurm ice age can be dated to the time about 115,000 to 11,700 years ago, the sources differing depending on whether the long transition phases between the glacials and interglacials are allocated to one or other of these periods. The average annual temperatures during the Wurm ice age in the Alpine foreland were below -3 degrees Celsius. This has been determined from changes in the vegetation as well as differences in the facies corresponding glaciations worldwide. The corresponding ice age of North and Central Europe is known as the Vicalian glaciation. Despite the global changes in climate that were responsible for the major glaciation cycles, the dating of the Alpine ice sheet advances does not correlate automatically with the farthest extent of the Scandinavian ice sheet. In North America, the corresponding last ice age is called the Wisconsin glaciation. Temporal classification. In the Geological, i.e. at the beginning of the Quaternary period around 2.6 million years ago, an ice age began in the northern hemisphere which continues today. Characteristic of such ice ages is the glaciation of the polar caps. After the Geological followed the early, middle and late Pleistocene with a succession of several warm and cold periods. The latter are often called ice ages or glacials, the former term often being confused with the overarching ice age period. The warm periods are called interglacials. Glaciers repeatedly advanced from the Alps to the northern Molasse foreland and left moraines and meltwater deposits behind that are up to several hundred meters thick. Today, the Pleistocene epoch in the Alps is divided into several phases: the Biber, Danube, Gunzburg, Haslach, Meindl, RISs and Wurm glaciations. The greatest ice advance into the Alpine foreland took place during the RIS's glaciation. The most recent foreland glaciation, the Wurm, did not have such an extensive and solid glacial front. Nevertheless, its terminal moraines, which indicate the perimeter of the ice sheet, extend as a single tongue well into the foreland, whilst they were hemmed in by the high mountainsides of the Alps. Once these rivers of ice entered the foreland, they often combined to form huge glaciers. The moraines and gravel beds formed in the Wurm glaciation are the best preserved, because since then there have been no more similar geological processes. Traces of the ice sheet have not been scoured out by later glaciers or overlaid by the sediments. This allows a more precise dating for the Wurm glaciation than for earlier ice ages. The Wurm glaciation was preceded by the Eemian, which began about 126,000 years ago and lasted 11,000 years. Then there was a significant slowdown, characterized by occasional fluctuations of several degrees in average temperatures. The various advances and retreats of glaciers associated with these temperature fluctuations are called stadials and interstadials. The Wurm glacial ended around 11,700 years ago with the beginning of the Holocene. The cold period was followed by another warming which continues today and during which the glaciers are retreating. However, even in the Holocene there have been variations in temperature and ice advances, the last one in the modern era being the so-called Little Ice Age. The Holocene is considered an interglacial of a larger ice age, since the poles and the high mountain areas are still glaciated. For stratigraphic chronology see the sister article, Vicalian glaciation.